Hello and welcome to Protect Ukraine Now YouTube channel. Today is December 30th, and President Biden issued a statement announcing that the mission is accomplished. And he fulfilled his earlier commitment to
support Ukraine as long as it takes, and
announced two new packages with military assistance for Ukraine. 1.25 billion in weapons via Presidential Drawdown Authority and 1.22 billion in Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative, also known as USAI. Sarcasm aside, the assistance packages announcements are true. Though, as we spoke earlier, PDA announcements refer to the actual weapons delivered, where USAI announcements are only an intent to utilize USAI funds for a specific purpose, with many years to come before the weapons are actually in Ukraine. Also, President Biden does seem to believe his mission is accomplished, and he fulfilled his earlier commitment from September of this year. Specifically, here's the quote. As I committed earlier this year, the Department of Defense now has allocated all remaining USAI funds appropriated by Congress in the supplemental that I signed in April. In my administration is fully utilizing the funding appropriated by Congress to support the drawdown of US equipment for Ukraine. End of quote, end of commitment. The statement, however, continues to say, I've directed my administration to continue surging as much assistance to Ukraine as quickly as possible, including drawing down all the US equipment for Ukraine, rapidly delivering it to the battlefield, and then revitalizing the US defense industrial base to modernize and replenish our stockpiles with new weapons. The Department of Defense is in the process of delivering hundreds of thousands of artillery rounds, thousands of rockets, and hundreds of armored vehicles, which will strengthen Ukraine's hand as it heads into the winter. At my direction, the United States will continue to work relentlessly to strengthen Ukraine's position in this war over the remainder of my time in office. End of quote. End of President Biden memory lane. Now let's talk about what was left overboard. What President Biden didn't say is that his commitment earlier this year included both USAI and PDA programs. Following today's announcement, there are still about 6.3 billion on the PDA authority available to Ukraine, with about 3 weeks of time to get it all to Ukraine. Now, in case you are in any doubt about this part of commitment, it was numerous times confirmed by the Department of Defense during their regular press briefings. We have prepared excerpts from these Pentagon press briefings where journalists raise questions about PDA commitment to Ukraine, the speed of the delivery, and the feasibility of making this happen before January 20th. When you watch this segment, please pay attention to the timeline of these briefings, because the outstanding PDA balance is obviously going to change over time. Another thing to watch for is that both the Pentagon press secretaries and journalists do not take into account the additional almost 2 billion in accounting mistakes discovered by the Inspector General in June of this year. But we do. So in order for you to reconcile between the numbers mentioned in this video segment and the numbers we at Protect Ukraine Now firmly stand by, you would need to add 2 billion to the PDA balance. Again, As of December 30th, according to the Pentagon, there is 4.3 billion left in PDA authority and at Protect Ukraine Now, because we believe that when mistakes are discovered, they should be corrected. We report the PD authority balance as 6.3 billion. Watch.
We have approximately $4 billion left in the previously committed PDA that the president, notified Congress that he would be spending down that authority or using that authority before the end of his term. You're going to see us continue to draw that down, pretty frequently. Could there be things that go out beyond January 20th? I can't say for certain right now, but we're committed to drawing down those PDAs. Oren.
Two questions. First is a follow-up here. Do you have enough weapons and equipment in current stockpiles and what will be produced before January 20th to actually use the remaining $4 billion in PDA?
Well, the president made the commitment that would be drawn, that we would use that PDA authority and before the term ends. So, we're always constantly backfilling and restocking our shelves. It's something that we're confident in getting those commitments to Ukraine when that comes to that over $4 billion in authority.
But that doesn't answer the question. Do you actually have enough to use all of it? Are you saying you do?
We are going to use it, and the president has committed to that. And so I'm not going to get into an Excel spreadsheet of what we have on our shelves, but we're committed to providing Ukraine what it needs, and that includes that $4 billion in authority.
Okay, and a more general question is, we're all aware that the clock is ticking. Is there a sort of hurry-up offense in getting the Ukrainians the weaponry that they're asking for before sort of January 20th? Is there a change to the pacing or delivery, et cetera, to that?
What I would say, Charlie, is we've had to hurry up and deliver security assistance to Ukraine from the very beginning. I mean, since 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago, when Secretary Austin stood up the Ukraine Defense Contact Group.
Totally separate topic.
Sure.
Ukraine aid. The president has said he's committed to getting about $7.1 billion in PDA to Ukraine before his administration ends. How do you get $7.1 billion off the shelf of Pentagon stockpiles in such a short time?
It is a short time, but it's also, just under 70 days. This department can do incredible work in that amount of time. The president made clear that, he wants to spend down the authority that Congress has allocated and authorized before he leaves office. So we're going to work very hard to make sure that happens. You've seen us roll out very large packages,
Hi, Sabrina. So the U.S. is expected to send another $275 million in security assistance to Ukraine, announcing that later today. And I was just wondering, the president is committed to spending $7.1 billion before his term ends. How do you get there in these small increments? What is the Pentagon thinking on this?
So, Tara, I don't have a package to announce today, but as you know, we roll out packages on a pretty regular basis. So when we have something to announce, whether it be a presidential drawdown package or a USAI package, you'll be hearing from us, of course. In terms of the $7.1 billion that we have left and that we are able to use for drawdown authority. You've heard it from here and you've heard it from the White House that we are committed to using that full authority that Congress has allotted to us. The only way we can do that also is to make sure that our shelves are fully backfilled and stocked. So as our shelves continue to get stocked with equipment and capabilities that are needed, we draw down from those and send those to Ukraine. The president has committed to ensuring that every dollar that Congress has allocated will be spent.
There's only, I guess, about 8 weeks left or something like that. So if you're still waiting for the stockpiles to be replenished before sending, how do you get there before January 20th?
Yep. So we're working on that every single day. This building, is working on ensuring that Ukraine has what it needs to be successful on the battlefield in the short and long term. We roll out packages frequently. I don't have one to announce today, but when we do, you're going to see that cadence continue throughout the year and through the end of the administration.
Okay, and then one last one on Ukraine. Is the Pentagon still committed to using up all of the funds that Congress approved to send to Ukraine? I think we're at $6 billion PDA left and $2 billion roughly in USAI.
Right, 2.21 billion in USAI and 6.8 billion in PDA. And again, the to be clear, the direction that we've received from the White House is to make every effort to continue to rush security assistance to Ukraine and employ the authorities that we have. And we're doing exactly that. I mean, the thing that hasn't changed is the sense of urgency within the department in terms of supporting Ukraine, understanding that the fight that they're in, and we've been doing that for upwards of 3 years, almost 3 years now, and we'll continue to do that and continue to ensure that we're speaking with them and our allies and partners to enable Ukraine to defend its freedom and its sovereignty.
I have several more on Ukraine too, on PDA-related things. So, a senior defense official told us earlier this week that the UD likely will not be able to use all the $5.6 billion in PDA for Ukraine by the end of this administration. However, NEC officials tell VOA that the Pentagon will be able to do this. So can you give us more clarity on that? Are you still committed to using all of $5.6 billion by January 20th?
What I would say is, we're committed to spending as much of that as we can to get security assistance to Ukraine as quickly as we can, and of course, we'll keep you updated on that front.
As you have seen and heard, according to the Department of Defense, the PDA authority is included in the commitment made by the Biden administration, and for that matter, President Biden himself. You also have heard that as time goes by, there is less and less certainty in the press secretary's responses over the ability of the DoD to deliver in full the remaining PDA authority. In my mind, this is a confirmation that the administration is stepping away from their commitment. I expect that as we get closer to January 20th, the language will change further, and soon Pentagon press secretaries will be letting the public know that much of leftover PDA authority will be transferred to the new administration instead of Ukraine. With all due respect to the upcoming administration, I and the rest of Protect Ukraine Now find this unacceptable. And so I hope you do too. The mission that the American people have trusted Biden with is not accomplished, and all the weapons available to Biden must be transferred to Ukraine now. Simple as that. Obviously, behind all these boring dollar amounts stand weapons that Ukraine's defenders need today in order to stop the aggressor, in order to be as safe as possible at frontline, and in order to protect the civilians, protect cities, protect infrastructure, protect Ukraine now. Now let's get back to our reality here in the US. Let me remind you that American advocacy organizations, including Protect Ukraine Now, run a campaign aimed at holding the Biden administration accountable to their commitment. If you live in the US, you can directly help with this effort by following instructions found at campaign.protectukrainenow.org. It doesn't get any simpler than that, though we will keep trying. Everything you need to know is at that link on your screen, but you can also watch our previous videos where we cover this campaign in greater detail. Folks, one more time, Protect Ukraine Now exists for one primary reason: get you involved in advocacy. We need your participation because there's no other way, and advocacy is a numbers game. You need to take part in this campaign and those that will follow later. We need you to share this video with your friends and family. Your likes and comments under this video help us reach a broader audience. Thank you, and until the next time.